What's up, guys? Jesse Private Channel. Tonight I'll be doing a review for AW Dynamite. AW Collision. So which is on a Thursday, which is earlier. So let's get to it then. Um, Tony Giovanni and Excalibur were on commentary for this Thursday night episode of AW Collision. They were joined by the AW TNT champion Amco, whose Paragon brethren will be in action later in the night against the grizzled young veterans. So yeah, he was on the commentary. Alright, so I have a contract signed for FTR versus Nacho McGuinness and Dan Garcia's segment. Alright, yeah, so here you go. Before Shivani could join Excalibur and Cole at the commentary desk, he was in the ring for the official contract signing between Dax Harwood and Cashier, accompanied by Big Stoke and their double or nothing opponents, McGuinness and Garcia. FTR and Stoke came out first, followed by Garcia alongside Danny Magic. That just left McGuinness, who made his way to the ring amid a warm welcome from the New Mexico crowd. Once all parties were in the ring, Shivani presented the contract to FTR to sign. Before that, though, Wheeler took the microphone and said that this was one last opportunity for Garcia and begins to change their minds. FTR still sees Garcia as a son. Does he really want to throw it all away to align himself in the likes of Danny Magic and McGuinness? As from Guinness, Weir knows that he's paid to talk now, but Sunday there is no commentary table to hide behind. There is no magic trick to say McGuinness. It's just Nigel, a show of his former self against the greatest team of all time. Is Nigel sure that's what he wants? And with that, FTR signed the contract and stuff. So yeah, sorry about that, guys. Garcia took the mic and acknowledged that, of course, he still cares about FTR. That's not just something that goes away. But when he looks at them now, he just sees a couple of violent sociopaths. Garcia didn't turn his back on them; they turned their back on him. Now Garcia is standing up for himself, but not just himself. He's just standing up for Tony Schiavone, Danny Magic, Cope, and everyone who has had enough of the both of them. But FTR are right about one thing: they are the greatest tag team that wrestling has ever seen. But this Sunday, according to Garcia, isn't going to be a wrestling match. It's going to be a fight. Turning to McGuinness, Garcia knows Nigel has that little voice in his head that's making him doubt. But Garcia sees a look in McGuinness's eyes. It's the same look he had when he was fighting Samoa Joe and Bryan Danielson, being one of the greatest ROH World Champion of all time. And no matter what FTR say or what McGuinness feels, Garcia and everybody in the building knows that he still got it. Whether he still got it or not, McGuinness said he'll find out. We'll find out on Sunday night at Double or Nothing. But before he signs the contract, McGuinness told FTR that he needs their word for whatever it is worth. That after Sunday, no matter the outcome of the match, that FTR don't touch, let alone talk or even look at showing Schiavone or McGuinness ever again. Because if they do, he promises them that it'll be top guys out for good. As McGuinness went to sign the contract, Harwood snatched the mic before they wrapped that whole thing up. He wanted Nigel to look him in the eyes while he signed that contract because Harwood needed to know that this is what McGuinness really wants to do. It's not 2019, this is 2025, and McGuinness has a beautiful family that Harwood insisted Nigel needs to think about. Harwood knows that the wrestling business has been McGuinness up throughout the years, and if he wants FTR to finish the job, all he has to do is sign the contract. If he does, then the blood is on Nigel's hands. FTR will hold no responsibility for what happens. Or McGuinness could turn around, get out of the ring, walk away over the commentary desk where Harwood said he belongs and maybe they can even be friends. Harwood delivered the last bit while conservatively patting McGuinness on the cheek, which prompted Nigel to state very simply that Harwood would touch him again. Why so serious? Harwood wondered. This is just business. If it were personal, Dax will be already splattered. McGuinness's nose across his face, but this is business, and on Sunday, FTR will be business. Harwood just hopes that McGuinness can be a businessman himself on Sunday. Another conceding pat on the to the face by Harwood was too much for McGuinness as he and Garcia attacked FTR and locked both Wheeler and Harwood into submissions in the middle of the ring, necessitating or something an intervention from security to separate the two sides. Finally, McGinnis got the last word, telling Elter that he'll look into their souls and that on Sunday this ends. Alright, we have a video package with Tony Storm for talk about Mina Shirakawa. So many women had died when they were young, only for their bodies to be buried much later. Uh, Alpine or something. The AEW Women's World Champion, but Mina Shirakawa has only ever made Tony Schiavone feel very much alive. She has appreciated Shirakawa, admired her by God. She has envied wherever her, but now Mina is here to stay. The safari is over. It's not much more difficult to survive the squared jungle when this pussy is on the prowl. Alright, Storm had always had a promotion that this journey will end in tragedy. So if there's anyone that can stop this bell from shining in a reflection at all, and then there's no one talented, then she'll call the champ. Just has one request: something. Give Storm your damnedest in the desert, and then decades from now, when they're in the wrestling retirement home, Storm will turn on to Shirakawa and say, "Mina, you lusty, busty bastard, we lived." Alright. So first match finally coming up, trios match, RPG, Vice, and Konosuke Takeshita versus Outrunners and Bandito. Don Callis also joined the commentary desk for this one, stating before the bell that he's quite the fan of Alco, something the TNT found hard to believe. In the ring, ROH World Champion Bandito and Trent Beretta started the action as a series of counters and chops left Bandito in the driver's seat as he lifted Beretta for a stalling vertical suplex and held him aloft for more than 10 seconds when Rocky Romero and Takeshita attempted to make the save. The Outrunners were quick to cut both of them off, hitting them with vertical suplexes of their own in unison with Bandito. Truth Magnum became the legal man on his side, with the Don Cal spamming able to isolate one half of the Outrunners on their side of the ring. Once Magnum made his way over to tag in Bandito, the ROH World Champion cleared the ring, setting up a stiff altercation with Takeshita. Bandito got his legs in, but Takeshita leveled his opponent with one brutal forearm to the chin. Bandito rolled to the apron and climbed the turnbuckle, taking out Takeshita with a tornado. Bandito attempted a turtle roll backbreaker, but Takeshita reversed a blue thunder bomb for a 2 count that was broken up by the Outrunners. RPG Vice sent True then Matt and Turbo to the floor, giving the Don Callis family an opportunity to his some triple team offense on Bandito. The Outrunners returned to save their partner as Bandito nailed Romero with the GTH. Takeshita snaked his way back into the ring for a German suplex on Bandito, but Bandito broke through a land a thrust kick, leaving both men to the mat. Bandito made the tag to Turbo Floyd, who hit both members of RPG Vice with a big haymaker, and then slammed all 3 members of the Don Callis family. The Outrunners gave Takeshita the double bionic elbow, but Rocky interrupted and attempted total recall before Lance Archer, who had been lurking at ringside the whole time, crushed Bandito on the outside of the outnumbers in their favor. Trent and Takeshita sent both members of the Outrunners up, and Rocky came on the top rope to drive them head first into the mat and score the win for the family. So here's our Vice City and Kenosha Takeshita. Alright, we have a little video with Game Kid. The hired gun for the Dead Rise doesn't understand why he has to explain himself, but he'll make things very clear. Why would Gabe join up with the Young Bucks? Why would Gabe Kidd join up with John Moxley? It's very simple. They want to save AEW. They want to protect AEW from the Dead Rise and Co. How are you going to do that when they are eating it alive from the inside? At AEW Double Nothing, they will paint a picture of the spirit of professional wrestling, and they will paint it in blood. Alright, next match is TBS Championship match. Mercedes Moné versus Rena Isis. Just 3 days before her Owen Hart Cup Women's Tournament final against Jamie Hayter, the AEW TBS champion proved how much of a fighting champion she is, putting her title and her 25-0 undefeated record in AEW on the line against CML's Rena Isis. The women began with the women began with the collar and elbow tied up that gave neither the advantage. The second exchange led to a roll up by Isis, followed by her Corona and a roll up of her own by the TBS champion, with both women back on their feet. Isis gestured toward her waist in the universal sign for a championship belt. Then did a little dance. Monet responded by locking in the statement maker, then doing the CEO dance once. Isis got to the ropes and forced a break. A big leg drop off the top rope to a dangling Monet scored a 2 count for Isis, followed by another near fall after 2 massive running blows off the rope to the champion. Isis landed 2 rising knees to the face of Monet, but she caught the third and took Isis to the mat with the head scissors, taking a takeover, setting her up in the corner for a meteor. But Isis had the weird withdraw to counter Monet or something. Monet coming off the top rope into a codebreaker. The counters kept coming as the TBS champion slipped behind her opponent for a backstabber. Isis attempted to regain the momentum, but all it took was a moment for Monet to cinch and statement maker and picked up the submission win. After the match, Monet's double another opponent, Jamie Hayter, came out from the back, but security was quick to keep the Owen Hart Cup finalists separated. We have to wait until Sunday to watch these two settle and things in the ring. So winner is still TBS champion Mercedes Monet. Alright, Sons of Texas video package. It's been 6 years since the very first Double Nothing, a moment in time that will never be forgotten. Dustin Rhodes will never forget about making history there with his brother. He has given his soul for this Dustin and Sammy Guevara are the Sons of Texas. 2 men Guevara know that who have been at AEW since day one. And yes, they're ROH World Tag Team Champions, but they want more gold. I'm sorry, guys. The Hearts get likes to her people will have at it. The Sons of Texas will risk everything to get everything. If you're betting a man, be on the day one, guys. Alright, so next match is Kyle Fletcher versus Jay Lethal. Two former ROH World TV champions collide in this one, with Fletcher accompanied to the ring by both Downcast and Lance Archer. Lethal made play some Ric Flair based mind games to claim the upper hand to start fending off Fletcher, stomping on him in the ring and trying to take the fight to him on the outside. But moments lapse and focus to fist bump Adam Cole at the commentary desk spelled a super kick to the face for Lethal. Both men made their way back into the ring where Lethal targeted Fletcher's knees before finally being able to tie the Pro Star into a figure four laylock. Fletcher suffered for nearly a full minute before he was able to make it to the ropes and force a break. Lethal climbed to the top rope for a King's elbow, but Fletcher leaped to stem Lethal with a blow to the head. Lethal beat Fletcher back to the mat and set up once again for the elbow, but Fletcher got the knees up for the counter. A stiff kick to the chest and the core by Fletcher was followed by a brainbuster on Lethal to give a Pro Star the win. With the match in the books, Takeshi and Josh Alexander came out to continue the assault on Lethal. Aew Cole took umbrage with that, making his way into the ring to confront the Downcast family. Moments later, Paragon's music hit, and Kyle O'Reilly and Roger Strong hit the ring, sending the family scattering back at the announce desk. Cole said that he couldn't sit back and let that happen, and that he thinks the Downcast family needs to be taught a lesson. A lesson Paragon will be more than happy to impact. So winner is Kyle Fletcher for this match. Alright, so next match right away is the Paragon versus Grizzled Young Veterans. James Drake and Kyle O'Reilly were in the ring, first showing off their wrestling chops before O'Reilly quickly attacked and Roger Strong landing some tandem offense before O'Reilly exited into the apron. Drake backed his way toward Zach Gibson, who tagged himself in, saved Drake from a suplex. Then Strong to the corner for a back elbows by both members of GYV. Strong ate a European uppercut from Gibson, but slipped over the top and tagged in O'Reilly. Gibson made the tag to Drake, and the two tripped O'Reilly, then landed a low drop kick to the temple on the Paragon member. O'Reilly made the tag to Strong, who came in like a house on fire with a back breaker and a high angle suplex on Drake. And Gibson, unfortunately for Strong, O'Reilly had had taken a beating, leaving Strong alone to try to combat both members of GYV. Gibson hit a long blower on Strong, followed by a coast-to-coast dropkick by Drake. It was only a last second save by Ori that prevented a pinfall victory by GYV. With both members of Paragon looking worse for the wear, Grizzled Young Veterans started to mix in some trash talk with brutal blows. Perhaps that was a mistake, though. In the blink of an eye, Ori and Strong took Drake out with a high-low and got the win. Cole then brought things back to the Doncast family, laying down a challenge for the family to take on Paragon at Double Nothing. So winner is Paragon. Yeah, so winners are Paragon. Anyways, next match is Josh Alexander versus AR Fox. Did someone order more Don Cal's family? The walking weapon made its way to the ring first with Cal sitting on commentary once again, followed by an energetic entrance by Fox. Cal's had heard Cole's challenge backstage, and he was more than game to accept. In fact, Cal's was ready to give Paragon the big three of Don Cal's after Duncan sent to catch up Kyle Fletcher and Josh Alexander, but first Alexander was set to take on Fox and the high flyer right out of the midair and slamming him straight into the mat in the corner. Alexander laid in a bait chop, but Fox countered in the corner for a cutter that sent the walking weapon to the outside to gather his wits, but Fox kicked the walking weapon right on the chin and followed that up with a moonsault. The advantage was short-lived though, as Alexander cut Fox off in the ring and mounted him for several bone-jarring shots to the skull. Alexander went for the ankle lock, but Fox slipped out and hit two more cards on Alexander, then that then took out the walking weapon with the huge dive over the top rope to the outside. Back in the ring, both men dodged out of the way, but Alexander caught Fox once more for a huge German suplex, then the C4 spike for the win. So winner is Josh Alexander. Alright, so main event. Hold on. No, I'm sorry. We're almost finished with this guy. Not yet. Alright, so anyway, CML Trios match. Los de Brothers Voller Jr., Magnus, and Rio versus Mystico, Mascara, Dora, and Templaro. Alright, so yeah, anyways, Templaro and Rio started things off for respective sides, and they started things off at a fever pitch. Templaro rocked Rio with several leaping kicks and then made the tag to Dorado as Magnus made his way into the ring for Los Desperados. Bodies kept flying in and out of the ring as Dorado showed off his athleticism and took down Valendo Jr. with a spinning head scissors takeover. Los Fiend as if they were going to head back to the locker room, but after they took a moment to collect themselves, they went back to their corner and sending Valendo Jr. in to face off with Mystico. Valendo Jr. was prepared for Mystico's acrobatics as he dropkicked the masked wrestler squared in the back as Mystico came bouncing off the ropes, but Mystico recovered and took out all three members of Los Dorado, opening the door for Mystico, Mascara, Dorado, and Tableau to hit stereo dice to the outside of their opponents. Mystico and Turbo continued to take out Los Dorados with the dice to outside. Meanwhile, Mascara Dorado spiked Mandis with the permanent and then landed a shooting star press for the win. Alright, so winners are Mystico and all that stuff. So yeah. Alright, we have Chris Statlander message to Willow. Statlander mused over a few questions with regard to her relationship with Willow, namely what did Stat ever do to her besides spear off a stage, drop her headfirst into thumbtacks and choke her with chain. Okay, maybe Willow has a point, but here's Statlander. She's sorry she made mistakes, but she's very sorry. She's a very dangerous person. So be careful who you push, because they might just push back. Alright, main event: Speedball, My Baby Commander versus Rouge and Joy. Let's go. Driscoll. With Bailey and Commander in the ring, Rouge came down the entranceway alone, which unsurprisingly was Rouge as Driscoll attacked LFI's opponent from behind. He and Rouge laid waste to both Bailey and Commander on the outside, even smashing a can of and drink into Bailey's face. Bailey countered Rouge's attempt to send him into the ropes through, though it made the tag to Commander as the two cleared house. Both Bailey and Commander nailed Rouge and Jericho respectively with two dives to the outside, but on the third, the members of LFI stepped aside. Jericho tore at Commander's mask with the two men perched on the top turnbuckle, then tied Commander into the tree of woe and kicked him square in the breadbasket. Double team offense from LFI wasn't enough to keep Commander from tagging in. Bailey, who went to work with his educated feet on Dresco from head to toe. Rouge tagged in for LFI with Bailey brave enough to stand toe to toe with larger, stronger man. Spinning disgust for him put to end to that illusion. However, with Rouge smashing Bailey into the corner, the striking the Dresco pose in the middle of the ring when Rouge was knocked to the outside by Commander. Commander Dresco rushed to his teammates' aid. Bailey countered the charging luchador with the thrust kick, then a triangle moonsault to Dresco on the outside. Commander then wiped out both members of F5 with the incredible corkscrew dive with absolute unbelievable height on it. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Stereo shooting star presses score a stereo 2 count for Bailey. A Commander, but LFI kicked out. Bailey made the tag to Commander and set Dresco up for a springboard destroyer, only for Rouge to break up the subsequent pin. A massive headbutt from Rouge took out Commander, and a knee strike sent Bailey rolling to the floor to the ring floor. I'm sorry. On the outside, Speedball invaded a stamp, beating Rouge instead, sending him crashing into the ring steps. With Rouge out the picture, Commander landed Seiko Lindo for the win. Once the bell rang, the coin dropped. AEW Continental Champion Kazuchika Okada came out to the ring to stare down his double nothing opponent. Speedball attempted to show respect with a bow and a handshake, but Okada wanted none of it. Instead, flipping off Bailey, Speedball kicked Okada's extended middle finger, followed by with another kick to the face. Then took out Okada with a dive to the outside and took his Continental Champion on his way to the back for a good measure. Alright, so the winners are Speedball, Mike Bailey, and Commander. Alright, it was a good show tonight, so it was alright, but whatever. What are you going to do and stuff? So, can't wait for a SmackDown for tomorrow night. That's be more fun and shit. So, anyways, that was this first video. Hope you like it, not whatever stuff. So, that was it, and I'll see you guys tomorrow night for a Friday Night SmackDown. Alright? Laters.